Okay, so I'm thinking of there's this I guess it's like a online program or you can like put a bunch of images in. It's called Mind Movies,
Yes.
and it creates this like little movie of the things you want. And I did this a few years ago, and I just discovered this on some flash drive or somewhere, and I went through and I watched it, and like every single thing had appeared is now in my physical reality, and I was like, holy shit.
Wow. Yeah.
uh and that this is, maybe 8 years ago, I wrote down my perfect day, and that came true after a few years. And then like this mind movie, and I would watch it, like every day for a few weeks. And I was like, okay, but then now look at like my car is the exact shade of green that the photo of, I was like, that's too wild. Um, so look, and I haven't done it recently, which makes me think like, oh, maybe I should go back and do it. Um, so it's like a daily practice of uh so re making it present for yourself again, like what it is that you're aiming for or wishing to create in your life.
Yeah, if we think of our brain as a computer, we're plugging in the program. And if we just, most of us are running from a program that somebody else created. So to override that and to kind of dissolve or diminish that, we need to show our brain, this is what I want now. And if like that's amazing, I love that. And if you, so when you were in school, when you were learning, if I may ask, what kind of a learner, what type of learner are you? A visual, audio, written,
uh
kinesthetic?
I'm kinesthetic and interpersonal to a large degree, so like moving with other people. Yeah.
Mm. And so it's interesting when you think about the mind movies. So what in one of my books, it's Dynamic Intention Journal. I talk about the primary manifesting style, which goes off of the primary learning style. So if we have a
Mm.
primary learning style of visual, because a lot of us are visual manifestors because we're predators, our eyes are at the front of our head, so we are very visual creatures. If we're visualizing something, or so if we're watching or creating mind movies, or if we're dream building, then those activities are very visual. We can create a visual representation of that end result that we want, and we can muscle test how many times per day we need to show our brain, show our subconscious that thing for it to come to us in the quickest amount of time possible.
Wow.
Yeah,
uh okay, I want to try that.
yeah,
That's
yeah, yeah. It's
okay.
pretty cool. So because we can't just we have this program running of maybe it's hard to create money, or money doesn't grow on trees, or it's hard to create a business, or maybe I have to struggle and force this so success can come to me. Maybe we have all of those programs, and meditating or looking at a mantra or saying a mantra or an affirmation, once a day, that's not going to override that other program. So we can muscle test how many times we can either visualize or say, repeat the anchor affirmation mantra, or we can run that mind movie. If we muscle test how many times per day that we need to do that to create that in our lives, then all we need to do is fulfill that, show up every day, and and I think it's I think the maximum that I have in the journal is I think 10 times, but it could be for 1 minute. So instead of just running that vision or mind movie or affirmation once for 5 seconds, you're doing maybe a minute at 10 different times during your day, and that will imprint your subconscious and your reticular activating system so that changes, that creates in your reality.
Mm. And so let's say muscle testing told you we think you should do 10 and you did 5. So maybe you would speed it up a little bit, but not at full speed. Is that
Yeah.
perhaps? Okay.
Yeah. And 5's better than none.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And so maybe I would have gotten my green car sooner if I had just played it more.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's either disbelief or lack of trust in ourselves or the system. Sometimes we believe that it can't be our power that creates, it has to be force. We think that it has to be harder than, watching a mind movie 3 times a day instead of once a day, right?
Cool. Yeah. And so it does seem like it was it Abraham Hicks who says like all you need is to spend a little bit of time in the vibration of what you want, and that can override like most of the other chatter that's going on that's not directly related to what it is you want.
Yeah, I think it's 68 seconds that is kind of the trigger point.
Okay, so make your mind movies a little bit longer than that, and
Yes.
be present. Okay, super cool. This is
Yeah, it's
fun.
Yeah, it is. It's really fun, and to look at it, like I love, you come from a scientific point of view, and I think that sometimes we come at this from a really emotional point of view, and if we turn down the emotion on it and turn up the just that curious kind of scientific, I'm just gonna test this. Just do these experiments and test it out, try it out, and really play with it and see what creates. And this is, coming back to the above the line versus below the line. When it's really important and we, need that bill to be paid, or we need that relationship to work, or we really want that car, or whatever it is, if there's a lot of emotion attached to it, oftentimes that's where the stumbling block is. So if we can just make it not emotional, just like there was a client of mine who was having trouble creating in her business, getting the clients in, getting the income that she wanted in. But when she wanted that dream truck, she manifested that dream truck.
Mm.
And when I said to her, what does it feel like to go out to your car now? And she said, well, it's just my car. I said, that's the way that truck has to feel. It's your truck. It's not something that is beyond your reach. It's not on a pedestal. It's not more important than you. It's your truck. And that's where we need to get to with everything that we're creating, whether it's money or clients or relationship or that trip, whatever it is.
So like a really big business launch or like a complex project, it would need to feel like your normal everyday experience.
Yeah, it's just another launch. Come to it as from the vantage point of, yeah, I've done 6 of these already. I have another client who's doing her second launch now, and she's done a launch already, but this one she was really emotional about. She just didn't think it was going to go well. She couldn't get behind it. And I said, have you done a program before? And she said, well, yeah. I said, this is exactly the same. It's exactly the same.
It reminds me of the story of the big wave surfer. What's his name? I'm blanking on his name, but he was the first one to surf a 70-foot wave. And they were asking him, they're like, oh my gosh, how did you do it? And it was because there was like something happened in the middle of the wave where everyone was like, oh, he's going to die because the wave changed. And then he had this insight where he shoved his hand into the wave and it stabilized him while he was flying, at 100 miles an hour down the face of this wave. And they're like, how did you know to do that? And he was like, it was actually really easy because I kind of did the same thing last week on a 60-foot wave. And then they were like, oh, okay, this is just you, showing up to another day of work, but your work is surfing big waves.
Yeah, that's
It's
crazy.
not that big of a stretch.
Yeah, if we normalize it, it doesn't, we bring it underneath the line. It's not too big. It's just normal, just an everyday, another day at work. Reminds me, I don't know if you've seen the movie The Gray Man with Ryan Reynolds and
Yeah, I saw that on my Netflix. I haven't watched it yet.
yeah, it's good. But Ryan Gosling says it's not Ryan Reynolds, it's Ryan Gosling.
Ryan Gosling, yeah, I think.
Right. He said it's just another day at work. It's just another Tuesday, I think he said, or Thursday, whichever.
Yeah.